Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Welcome to part 2 of working on my Dwarf Schefflera. Today I'm going to be pruning it up. Last night the temperature went down to freezing, so I had all the tropical trees here in the greenhouse with the heater running to keep them safe and warm. So now I can move my ficus into the polyhouse for the afternoon so I can clear up some space on the bench to work on my Schefflera. I mentioned yesterday that I was going to do all the cleanup that afternoon. Well, that didn't happen. By the time I watered all my trees and got the video downloaded, it became the evening and then into the night. So I'll have to do the cleanup right now. So I'm just picking up all the leaves and debris, and I have to be careful because there's a lot of aerial roots growing across the surface of the soil, and I don't really want to disturb those. So while I'm doing this, I'm trying to bring a tree outside every day from the plant room. So I think it's time to bring another one out, and I think today it will be maybe the Frankenficus. Either that or my Ficus Fancy. I might start bringing out the Ficus sisters. Ficus Fancy and Ficus Plain. So I better do that right now. Get it out, check it over for insects, spray it if it does have scale or anything else on it. And then it'll come in the greenhouse here for tonight. And that will probably be the next tree I work on. Unless there's something more urgent that needs doing. I know there's some that need pruning now. I may have to step up my video production to 2 a day to get everything done. I like to do everything on video if I can, because that way the whole history of the tree is recorded, all the work done to it. Start doing stuff off camera, well, not much point having a bonsai channel showing progression if you don't show the progression. I'm just going to mist these aerial roots. Make sure they stay nicely hydrated. Come on, there we go. Guess I need more water in my spray bottle. That'll do. Here is a look at the Frankenficus, a Ficus benjamina that the top died off in the cold, and I took a cutting off of it and grew it over top of the original tree, creating kind of a Frankenstein ficus or a fusion ficus. And yeah, it's saved from disaster and it's starting to look good. I did a lot of pruning on the tree last time, so it hasn't really had a chance to fill back in yet. So it's still looking pretty sparse and empty, but it's making progress. I'm getting growth coming out the front of the tree, which I never had before. The branches are slowly getting better. So I'll keep working away at it this summer, always trying to improve it. While I have it outside here, I'm going to give it a good watering with some fertilizer, and then it'll spend the night in the greenhouse. I've got the Frankenficus in the polyhouse here where it's really nice and warm. I've activated beast mode for this tree with this sunshine, and it being dormant over the winter, it's just going to absolutely explode in growth this year. And the pot is really draining well, so there's lots of room for new root growth in this pot. I think it's going to be a good year for this tree. I think it's going to be amazing, the changes in one season. It was nice to get the Frankenficus out. Now it's back to work cleaning up my Schefflera. These roots that crawl along the surface of the soil whenever they find a decaying leaf, the roots kind of branch out and cling to the organic matter. They like finding something that's moist and has nutrients. So I have to be careful when I'm pulling them out that I don't pull away roots with them, with the debris. I've got the forest floor all cleaned up of debris, so now it's time to begin the pruning. I did bring a picture of the tree into Photoshop or GIMP, and I did some trials on it. And what looked best was keeping it as wide as possible, but bringing a very shallow kind of umbrella canopy to it. And I tried one with irregularities too, and that seemed to be the best, I think. It was a good compromise between an absolute smooth umbrella shape and a bit of naturalness. I think it looked the most natural and the most effective for this planting. So it really emphasized that Banyan style with the wide spreading branches and keeping the height down. So that's the approach I'll use when I prune the tree. I'm going to begin the pruning now, and my first objective is to get the height down. Now I can't go too low or I lose a lot of my ramification here, my branching. I don't want to take it back to kind of stumps and cutting off all that work. So I'll take it down as low as I can and still keep all my branching up top. The highest point in the tree is right above the main tree here. So right here. And that's the highest. If you look in the side view, that has to be the highest too. So it'll round front and back, and then side to side it'll round from here also, with maybe a slight clump over this section. That's kind of a separate tree. So I'll begin here, pruning these branches back as far as I can get them. Now, I'm using directional pruning. So I'm looking for leaf scars to determine the direction that the new shoot will come in. And I'm trying to get them to fan outwards. So you can see I'm leaving a little bit of the new growth on the branches. And I've just sharpened my scissors, so they should be nice and sharp to do this. So this one has to fan out towards the back, so I'll prune it here. So there's the highest point in the tree, so everything else has to be shorter than that. In some cases, like if you look at this branch, it comes up from the trunk and kind of twists up. It's been, it's got movement to it, but there's no taper, so it needs to be pruned back even further. And that, may become a future branch, and maybe ones that are too thick will get removed completely, and these other ones can take over in the future. So this one, because it has no taper, I'm going to prune it back quite hard. And I'm going to come right back to here. There's another one beside it here. It's in the same category. It's long and skinny with no ramification. It has movement, but there's no subdividing, so I'm going to prune that back also. Okay, so the next branch is this one here, and it's just got to be a little bit shorter, so I go there, and I don't know if I can prune that part back. Yes, I can prune this back more. And this one. Pruning those quite far back. There's one coming out the back here. I can prune this one back to here. So that gets that branch in check with the profile. There's one sticking out of the profile here. It needs to be pruned back to here. Like that. These cuts, there's no need to seal them. They will seal themselves. You don't have to put cut paste on them or anything. Okay, over here I've got a branch. I can shorten this one back to here. And then I've got a really vigorous one behind it. I'll want to prune that to a bud or a leaf that faces backwards. So I don't have anything directly out the back until I go quite high up here. So I've got one to this side and one to this side, so I'll have to come in right here. Like that. Pruning it back short. Now, behind it here, I've got some branches sticking up out of the profile, and again, I'll put it to a backward facing leaf here to here. And here. And here. So Scheffleras are fairly difficult to get branching going on them. It just takes a while. You just keep pruning them and you get more branching. Now on this branch back here, it looks like I have a dead branch coming up here. It didn't survive for some reason. So I'm going to take that off completely. Like that. There's also another one over here. You can see it just fell off. That one's fine. I don't need to prune it. Everything else looks okay. So that has got this main trunk line pruned back to shape and to size. So now you can see how much some of these shoots are sticking up higher than the apex of the tree. Okay, so let's go up this trunk line here next. Out front I have a dead branch, so I'll prune it off flush. Like that. Cleaning some of these wounds up here. And then this is on the outer edge, so I want to prune these as short as possible, but still fanning out. So I'll go right here, like that, and right here. Pruning those back very short. Now on the branch beside it, you can see it divides in two here. And then this one divides in two again. There's a stub here I can remove. And then this one grows back in towards the tree, so I don't want that, so I'm taking it right out. And I'll keep this one and I'll prune it back to here. Shortening it as much as I can. Like that. All the pruning I've done so far is just into the new green growth. I'm not going back into old wood. That may come in the future if I, step back and have a look at the tree and there's some areas that just need reducing back into older wood. Out the front of this one, I have a branch coming up. And you can see it kind of crosses this trunk line. It's not a very attractive branch. I'm going to prune it off right here. I'll keep it like this part of it, but I've cut it back quite a bit. Okay, so next, you can see all these tall ones back here. I think I want to prune those back next. So let's rotate it around and see if I can get them in check. So this one I'll want to prune to a leaf scar facing the back. So right to here. This one, a leaf scar facing this direction, so maybe right here, like that. And the one out front, it's the third branch on this branch. These two fan outwards. This one goes straight in the air. I'm going to take it right off, like that. So my branch divides from 1 to 2, and I have really good flow lines back there. On this branch here, you can see this branch faces the inside. So I'm taking that one right out, like that. I've got a stub here I can clean up. Another one here. And then I've got this branch coming up and dividing into two, and the two branches are kind of parallel to each other. That's not very good looking. I'll prune the one to here and the other one to here, and that'll cause them to fan out a bit. If it still looks bad in the future, I may have to eliminate one and just kind of regrow branches on it. It's kind of funny looking at the moment. Behind that, I have two branches that grow in towards the center of the tree. I'm going to take those out. Like that, keeping my one branch that fans outward. And I'll also prune that back to here. Like that, so that gets that back in profile. I think I'm going to take this one back even further. It's a little long, like that. Now I've got a branch that comes out here, flows out nicely, and then the branches turn 90 degrees and go straight upwards. It's not a very good look. I'm looking for leaf scars that flow outwards, so maybe right here. So I'll prune it just above that, and here. Shortening them, hoping to get something so they come up and then start flowing outwards again. So it'll put a little zigzag in the branch. Again, if it doesn't look good once they grow in, I can maybe remove them and hopefully something else will grow. But that's getting that height down. It looks much more within that umbrella-shaped Banyan style profile. Now here's another one sticking way up here. So I'm looking for leaf scars on this side. There's a good one here. Is that too high? Yes, it is. I'll have to go right back to here. Off with its head. This one could be pruned back. And then there's a long sweeping branch here. I'm looking for leaf scars on that one. There's one facing upwards. There's one. Okay, so if I prune right here, it should grow and continue to fan out that branch. And that gets it in check with the profile. Now there's a branch here going up, and again the tip isn't very flowing, so I'm looking for a leaf scar that would continue the flow. Maybe here. And here. And here. Shortening that back. Now this one is still sticking up out of that umbrella profile a bit, but maybe that's not too bad here. Here's another branch. This one's crossing in towards the center of the tree. I have two that are flowing outwards, so I'll take this one right out. And then I'll shorten these ones. And to here. And this one to here. Shorten those back to stubs. The one out front here, put it back to here. Still too high. I'm going to have to do a bit of more of a hard prune back to here. Like that. So it's sort of within check of the profile. So it's already, the whole tree is looking much better already. I still have a lot of branches sticking up, but it's getting a bit of shape to the canopy. It's not so haphazard looking. I've got some vertical shoots here sticking way up, so I need to prune those back. This one, it's quite high. I will have to prune into the older wood. There's just no way around it. I do have sort of a bud forming here, so I'm going to prune just above that. Here I go. Off with its head. There's one back here. A big, long, skinny one. I'm going to have to prune it quite far back. It goes from way down there all the way up here without any sub-branching and without any taper. So it has to get pruned back, right back to here. Shortening it quite a bit. Let's get these vertical ones here now. So the division's way down here. There's big, long, straight sections of these branches. They have been pruned here and here once before. No subdividing, they just continue to grow straight. So I shall prune them again. I'm going to go right back to here, fairly hard prune, like that. And then this one, I'm going to go back to here. And maybe lower, yes, lower. Back to here, if I can get in there. Back to there. That should do it, because that's still too tall. I've got to come back even further. There. That's better now. Gives a bit of shape to it. Okay. Now, this one can get pruned to here. This one to here. This one, release the tip off, maybe lower, yeah. There. This one to here. Okay, now I've got this one coming straight up here. That's definitely way too tall. It has 3 aerial roots coming off it, so that's how vigorous it was that it started generating aerial roots. I've got to prune that really low. I'm going to try here, hoping to keep those aerial roots. They may just dry up and die, but it's worth a shot keeping them. This one here, I've got a hard prune back to here. This one to here. Shortening that side of the tree. I may even have to come lower. This one to here. To here. To here. Shortening that branch quite a bit. You can see this one's sticking up now, so let me tackle that one. Prune it right back to here. Taking the top off, that may still be too high. It kind of, the curve comes down, there's a bit of a bump there. It might look okay. I'm going to keep it, see what it looks like once the leaves fill in. Prune that back shorter, and this one. So you can see it's starting to get its shape back now. It looks more orderly. This side is still pretty chaotic, but this side's starting to look more banyan-like. Here's a long shoot coming up. Let's take this stump out. Very stiff and straight. I'm going to prune it back hard to here. Big cut, but that gets that shortened. This one back to here. This one back to here. This one to here. This one to here. This one is growing back in on the tree. I'm going to take it right out. Like that. I may clean that cut up a bit more. There. That looks better. Now I'm still quite long. If you imagine this is the side view, The apex kind of rounding down. Yeah. So this branch, it cuts back in, this one here, cuts back in towards the center of the tree, so I'm going to remove it entirely. Like that. There's one vertical one here. I'm going to take that off entirely. A bit of a dead branch here, just a little one. Take that out. This one also is going straight up. I'm going to prune it back short, see what happens. This one can get pruned to here. This one, a thick one going straight up, I need to prune it back short to here. To here. And to here. This one to here. Stubs, taking stubs out. This one can be shortened, and this one can be shortened, like that. There's a few in here that are pointing in towards the tree. Right here, I've got to clean these out. They're just not flowing branches. Got to keep the flow going. Clip and flow bonsai, you need the flow. There's one coming straight up here. I'll take that right out. Shorten this one. Now here's one that sticks up. So let's have a look at this from the front view. Yeah, it's kind of, you can see this branch comes up from here, divides here, and then it's fairly straight, long, without any branching and not much taper. So it needs to be brought back into the profile, which I think it was when it was pruned here. So I need to do some hard pruning here. I think I'm going to hard prune it here. Here I go. And same with this one, it's got to be pruned back shorter to here. Cutting it right back. And a bit of a Hail Mary cut. We'll see what happens with that one. I'm sure it'll recover and grow branches somewhere on it. Now, here's one out the back here. Same kind of similar branch as this. It divides here. Not a lot of taper, not a lot of movement, and not a lot of branching until you get up quite high. Take a stump out here. There's one growing on top here I'll take out straight up. There's another one growing straight up here I'll take out. There's another one here growing straight up. I'll take that one out. Because I have a branch here that could possibly flow outwards. Taking some stumps out. And then I need to prune this one back to here. And this one back to here. Some big cuts there. This one back to here. Like that. Yeah, kind of reducing that back. Let me see it from the front now. I don't like the fact these two branches converge here. They kind of spread apart and then come back in. That's not a very good look. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one off here. Here I go. So now they kind of both flow the same direction. It's a little better. If better branching develops in that area in the future, I'll maybe prune utilizing that new growth, that new better branch structure. Here's another one that kind of grows straight up. Prune just most of it off. A few dead leaves hanging in here that I missed. There's another one growing straight up. I'll prune it back to here. Tip off that one. This one could be pruned back. This one could be back to here. Keeping in mind that rounded profile. This one goes right back to here, and this one back to here. Bit of a funny looking branch structure here, but maybe something better will come out in the future. Here's one growing back in towards the center of the tree, but there's nothing else fanning outwards, so what am I to do there? I guess I just need to prune it off shorter and hope something develops out the back in the future. Stump here I can take out like that. Tree is definitely looking better. Okay, let's keep going here. Here's one going straight up. I'll take it right off. Prune this one back to here. This one back to here. This one back to here. This upper one. Coming off there. This one, it's going straight up. I'm going to take it right out. And I'll allow more light in here. I'll get more back budding. Okay, let's deal with this one, prune it back. This one. And this one. Pruning them back. This one here is long and a bit of a snake-like branch, lots of movement to it, but no taper and no branching, so it needs to be pruned back into the profile, which is going to be quite short. So I think back to here at least. A bit of a big chop there. This one can be pruned back to here. This one to here. Tip off that one. This one to here. I'm always looking for leaf scars that are facing the direction I want the new branch to grow. Here's one growing inside. I'll take that one right off. It's growing back in towards the center of the tree, so that comes right out like that. There's another one here. I'll take that one right out. Don't want those branches growing back in on themselves. Here's one here. Take it off right here. These ones are long. Taking them back. Here's another long kind of, lots of movement but not a lot of taper. Take it off there and here. Looking good. Now I'm really high here, so I need to take some of this off. I'll shorten it back first and see how it looks. Here. This one's going straight up. I'm going to take it right out. Like that. This one is going straight up. I'm going to prune it back hard to here. And this one to here. And this one to here. Take a stub out. Like that. Well, I think I've done my round one of the pruning is completed. I've got everything reduced back. I'm not done yet. I've got to step back now and have a look at the overall shape of the tree and see what needs to be pruned back, maybe even further. So I'll clean up all these branches here and then we'll step back and have a look at the tree. Here is a look at what I've taken off so far. So just all branch tips. You can see it's all green. It's all the new growth. So yeah, not a whole lot of hard pruning, but I still may do that. I've got to step back now and have a look at the tree, so let's do that. Here is a look at the tree from the distance. I think it's looking good. There is, a few things, a few branches sticking out of the profile. Maybe this one here, this one. There's definitely a few touch-ups I could do. If I get the circle template and position it somewhere kind of here. You can see there's a little bit out of the profile. Maybe more there, eh? Yeah, so I can do a little bit of touching up. So I'll do that now. Okay, so this is too high here. I can reduce it back to here, and here, and here. I think I forgot to prune those ones. Okay. This one's still a little high. I don't want to prune that any further though. This one's too high, I'll prune this one back. Definitely. This one's too high, I can prune it back to here. Take a little more off, and this one also. Just minor touch-ups. Actually, that one needs more. I'm going to have to do a bit of hard pruning here. Back to here. And I think the one at the back here also, yeah, I'll have to do a hard prune on that. It's getting too long and out of the profile, especially if I rotate it around. You can see in the side view how much it sticks up here. So maybe just even taking this top part off, I'll do that. Like that. That helps. Take that one back. It was starting to stick out too far. Maybe this one, take it back to here. This one is shooting straight up here. I'll prune it back to here. Here's another one shooting straight up. Prune it to there. Here's another one. Come back to here. And take the tip off here. The tip off here. Keeping my length side to side. Okay, let me keep looking at it. Checking out each branch, following it up and seeing how it's doing. This one could be pruned back here. That. There's one in here that's pointing in towards the center of the tree. I'll take that one right out. Well, that was that one I pruned back. I think I've just got to get rid of it. Come on. There's going to be difficulties here. There. There. Oh, looks better without that. It was kind of a strange looking branch. Okay. Leaf in here. I think it's looking quite good now. I'll do a final check. Rotate it around to the back and have a final look at it. There's a branch in here I gotta get out. Stub here I can clean up. There's a shoot here growing back in towards the center of the tree. Let me look at it in the front view. Yeah, that one's funny. I'll take it right out. Take that whole stub back. like that. That's better. Now I'm going to go into the top view and just double check the top view, make sure everything's flowing nicely, that there's no branches kind of crisscrossing or shading each other out. So let's go up top now. All right, we're in drone mode, flying above the forest. So I'm just looking for flow. There's two branches touching here, but that's not too bad. Looks okay. Just looking for obvious areas. See, here's one growing underneath another one. I should probably just prune out the one that's hidden underneath the other branch and grow the other tip. Maybe like more like that. Okay. There's one here. I've got one shooting straight up. I'll get rid of that. And then I've got three growing from one spot here. So this flows nice. This one doesn't, and this one doesn't. I'll prune this one back to here and take this one off. It's a bit of an eye poker, that one. So yeah, you know, going to the top view, here's another branch that I've missed pruning. I'll just prune it back to here. Yeah, these are things that you can see in the top view. Here's another one. There's a branch growing underneath this branch here. I don't need this branch. I could prune it off shorter, and I will, to here. Here you can see I've got kind of three branches growing from the tip. I'll take off the one pointing towards the viewer. Here's a dead branch on the tip I didn't notice. Another one here, just prune that off. Oh, another one out here. Sometimes hard pruning on these Scheffleras isn't successful. I would say 90% of the time it is, but occasionally when you hard prune you get some dieback. And it's just, that happens with any tree, it's not just Scheffleras. Okay, so I'm still looking for funny things. This one grows back in, but I've got nothing fanning out, so I can't really do much. I can prune the tip off there. Here's a branch here. I've got two nice divisions, and then the one up the middle goes vertical. I'm going to take that one out. Like that. There's a dead stump I can take off there. Here's a vertical one here I can prune back. There's one growing straight up here. I don't need that there. Bit of clutter here, but that's okay. This one is looking really straight. It comes out and it goes straight. That may have to get hard pruned in the future. There's a couple of new green shoots growing in here. I've got to check if I want them. Let me go to the front view again. Okay, so these new shoots are right in here. And the one goes in towards the center of the tree and the other one kind of goes vertical. And I have some negative space in here and they're blocking up that negative space. It's just making it very cluttered. So both of those have to be pruned out. They're just not good new shoots. So out they come. Like that. So that cleans up that area. Gives it a bit of space between the branches so it doesn't look so cluttered. And it's really important with your primary branches not to have them cluttered. You know, as you get out to the finer branching the tips, it's you know, you want them to get denser, the branching, but your primary structure has to be fairly clean. I'm just picking out some of these clippings. I think I've got it. All right, I think it's all looking good. Maybe I'll just prune this one, like that. I don't see anything that's bothering me. I think it looks quite nice, actually. So let's fly in now and have a final look at the tree. After a pruning like this, I found that the leaves grow in on my Schefflera in about 4 weeks, and the tree looks its absolute best in about 5 and 6 weeks. So if I was to put this in a show, I would prune it back at least 5 and maybe 6 weeks before the show, and then it would have all the new leaves growing in, and the leaves would be miniature looking, and the tree would look its best. That is all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.